Good afternoon and welcome to another edition of Fashion Flair Friday. How are you doing? It is fall, isn't it? And it is very, very cool. Cool meaning it's cold. So, it's that time of the year, even here in California, we're in the 30s and the 40s. And so, boy, is this a perfect time to talk about sweaters? I think so. So just make sure that when you come on, you say hello so that I know that you are here. And of course, don't hesitate to comment throughout or give me, a thumbs up or a heart or, just engage because it makes it a whole lot more fun when I know that there's somebody out there listening and that I can talk to. So, welcome, welcome. And fall, as we know, is definitely here. We're all busily getting ready and thinking about Thanksgiving. And maybe some of you are going to be traveling for Thanksgiving. Maybe some of you are going to stay home. And I like to stay cozy, so stay home and stay cozy. But this year, because COVID restrictions are pretty much gone, we can get out and about and do so many more things this Thanksgiving than we've been able to do for the last couple of years. And so that brings to mind, okay, the wardrobe factor in terms of keeping you warm, keeping you, modern, keeping you fashionable at this time of the year. And I think in November, I think about sweaters. And so that's what we're going to be talking about today. Now, I had some fun actually doing my research on sweaters. Um, because this year, I did my research and then I went to my closet and I said, "Oh my goodness, there are a lot of things that I don't have in my closet that I really see out in the marketplace today." So, what I wanted to do is to share with you, and then, of course, to show you some photos of the trends that I have seen. Now, we know how I feel about trends. We know that I think trends are really important to pay attention to, but not necessarily to adopt. But I think it's always that awareness of what's happening in the marketplace and how you might be able to take one individual piece and put it into the wardrobe just to freshen up the look. So I'm kind of feeling that way about sweaters this year, even for myself. The way to really update that sweater drawer or wardrobe or whatever you want to call it. So, for those of you that don't know me, let me just say hello and let you know that I'm Marian Gellatley. I am a long time wardrobe and style coach, actually for 30 years now. And at this point in my practice, what I love to do most is I love to work with women 50 and better, I like to call it, who just are feeling dissatisfaction in their wardrobe. Maybe they've seen a change in their body, or maybe they're changing careers, or maybe there's a divorce, or maybe there's something changing in their life, and they just want to come forward and feel good about themselves and feel confident in themselves. But when they go to their closet, they don't find what they really want or what really flatters them at this stage in their life. So, my goal is always to work with clients that are in that kind of position to teach them, to educate them so that they can have a style that they love and that's going to give them the confidence to step out every single day. So, if you are here today, make sure you say hello so that I know you're here. And I'm going to go ahead and launch right into now the best sweaters of the season. So, I'm looking at things specifically for what are the kinds of sweaters that we can use to update our wardrobe. Let's begin with the sweater vest. So I'm not talking about the vest that you zip up or the puffer vest, that type of a thing. We talked about that last week. But this week I want to talk about the sweater vest. So of course a sweater vest is going to be a sleeveless option like what you see here. It's also a great solution in those of us that are in a little warmer climate to where maybe we don't have to really um, put on a coat, but where we want some sort of a little warmth and we want to bring ourselves into the fall and the winter season. So there are things that in a sweater vest, like you see right here, where you could actually tuck a blouse underneath it. But you could actually wear this little sweater vest sleeveless if it was a warm enough day and pair it with a pair of jeans as you see here. So that would be one example. Now, what I will say about this is that if you are full busted, this is not going to be your best look. Okay, so in fact, it's going to accentuate and make your bust line even look larger. So let's take a look at this sweater vest, which is a little more oversized, and it also has the V-neck. She is not wearing any kind of a blouse or a t-shirt or anything underneath it, but she could. But this particular look is a little chunkier. It is probably a little more modern. And pick a color. Of course, it's really going to work for you. So you can see how this color on this particular model just is, it's a beautiful pairing. So we always want to take into account, no matter what garment we're purchasing, we want to make sure that the garment really flatters our personal coloring, flatters our body and our figure, and fits into the personality of our style. So there would be another example of a sweater vest. This I would call is a little bit oversized, whereas the previous one was a little snugger and trimmer to the body. Now the other sweater vest would be a long sweater vest, layered over a turtleneck or a t-shirt of some sort, and a little more dramatic, isn't it? So for somebody that's got a more dramatic style or personality, this is going to be a great option. The thing you have to worry about with things that get this long is whether you've got the stature and the height to be able to carry it off, or whether you're willing to wear a boot to kind of lift you up off the ground in order to balance the length of that long piece. All right, so let's see here. Say hi. I see we have a few people on. And then tell me, would you wear a sweater vest? That's the first thing that we're looking at today. Now, the second sweater that we're going to look at today, which is very prevalent in the marketplace this year, is the collared sweater. Here's one example. It's got kind of that preppy, sporty sort of a look with that polo collar. And yet in this particular picture, you'll see that the knit is very refined. So it's got a little bit of what I'd call maybe an elegant, sporty flair. So there again, you have to take into account your style, personality. And we're going to see them in fine knits like you see here, or you're going to see them in a chunkier knit. And you see how different this collar is than the previous. This one isn't a polo collar, but it definitely is collared, isn't it? I love this particular sweater. And I think it is elegant, but I think it's on trend very much so. So again, think about, is that sort of a neckline going to flatter you? This is going to flatter somebody that does have a fuller bust line because of the V-neck. All right, so collared sweaters are going to come in chunky knits, and they are also what I would say is a good alternative to a classic crew neck. So we know that crew necks never really go out of style. They're always with us. But if you want to update, or if you're kind of bored with that crew neck, which I am, then doing something like what I've just shown you is definitely going to be a nice updated look. All right. So let's see here. Then let's go to our sweater tanks. And our sweater tanks can be in a fitted, ribbed sort of a tank like what you see here. They can be with a turtleneck or with a mock neck like you see right here. Or they can be a crew neck, they can be a turtleneck. But the idea is that these are tops now that can be worn with a pant, and then you can always layer something over them. So you can layer a blazer over them. You can, or some sort of a jacket, or some sort of a cardigan sweater. But one of the big trends this year is for women to actually wear this sort of look with their arms bared, and wear them either tucked in or out of a pant, and just as a go-to. So that would be a sweater tank. Here would be another example of a sweater tank, more of a classic cut, but in a fun animal print. And again, this would be something you could wear under a gray jacket or a black jacket or a cardigan sweater. So a lot of tanks that are in a sweater material is what you're going to see this year. Again, worn bare-armed or layered under something. All right, so for those of you that, like my daughter, who loved stripes, this is going to be your year. Typically, we see stripes in the spring and the summer, but boy, this year we're seeing them for fall and winter in a big way. So here is an example of a great stripe. It's a trendless, I would say, closet staple. And it's the difference is that, you know, we're seeing them, as I said, right now for fall. So go ahead and you can either choose your stripes in a fall color combination. And when you go to the catalog that I put the link to just above this video, you can actually go in and see some of the combinations of colors that I put in there. You will see stripes that are a smaller stripe like what you see here. You'll see some very bold, wide stripes. And again, you just need to think about, you know, what do those horizontal stripes actually do for your body? Are they flattering? Now, this particular stripe is fairly close together, and so this actually can be, most people can wear this. But then there's one or two, I think, in the closet that are very wide stripe, and you just have to be really careful that those wide stripes that are spaced apart are actually going to add some bulk to your body. So if you're small busted or small framed, it will work fine. But if you are fuller busted and you know you're self-conscious about that, then you're not going to want to emphasize with really wide, bold stripes. Here is another example in the classic black and white for this time of year, but you'll also notice how slouchy this is, and this slouchy look paired with, you know, the leather pants that are so prevalent in the fall marketplace right at the moment. You know, that's a great look. So love that look, love that slouchiness, but that's again because that's more my style personality. It may not be your style personality. So in the catalog, you'll see a couple of examples of things that are more classic and a little more traditional, but are very current for this particular season. All right, let me see. Do I have any questions? I do not. Okay, let's keep going then. So we've talked about the sweater vest. We've talked about the collared sweater. We've talked about the sweater tank. We've talked about the striped sweater. And now we're going to talk about the classic, the turtleneck. I'm wearing a turtleneck today. I've had this turtleneck for quite some time, but I want to just have you note that there are different kinds of necklines that will be on a turtleneck. Some that are, that sit right up here and really fit close to the neckline, and those that just give a little space in here. And for me now at this age, it is more flattering for me to drop down than to, really kind of saddle right up to the neck, because I find that, I get a little bit of that drapiness over the neckline. So pay attention to that. And if it bothers you, then just go ahead and adjust with the type of turtleneck that you actually purchase. So you're going to find everything from fine knits to slouchy knits. So that's kind of across the board, fine knit or slouchy knit. What is your style personality? And here is one that I think is just such a beautiful color. And, here is one that is also what I would call more figure forming. But the thing that I think is fun about this is not only the gorgeous color and the fact that it is a turtleneck, but that balloon sleeve with that close fitting body, I think is a wonderful look for those of you that have a figure that can support that. But one of the things I want to say about turtlenecks is see if you can find turtlenecks that have a little interest. So this has, number one, it has the color. Number two, it has the ribbing. Number three, look at the button detail on the sleeve. So that just adds a little more fun, a little more fashion, a little more pop if you're going to make that investment for this particular season. So again, the turtleneck is timeless and it's flattering to most all body types. And lastly, let's talk about the cardigan sweater. Well, cardigan sweaters have been around forever, but this particular season, we're seeing them, cropped. We're seeing them chunky. This is not a cropped, but this is a beautiful cardigan sweater, a long, cozy style in plaid, which is very prevalent right at the moment, and paired back with your neutral jeans. What a great statement that makes. Or you can do something like this in a beautiful soft color that is very feminine, and yet it's got the cabling. So, this also, as you can see in this little tiny picture up here, is you can actually belt this sweater. So for those of you that have, a waistline and you don't want anything that is too boxy, look for a cardigan sweater that, number one, either has some shape in through the waist, or number two, has the ability to actually tie a belt there around the waist. Now, the other thing that she has done here, which is, I think, a great strategy, is to use the belt, the leather belt, also to call attention right to the center. So it's kind of a slimming strategy to make sure that that belt kind of draws the attention to the waist, but you don't see the full waist itself. You just see that small little bit. So it really does, make us believe that maybe your waist or my waist is smaller than it actually is. So there are all kinds of ways that you can, overcome certain things on your body that you may not love and really make it very flattering. And here is another, this is what's so prevalent right now. And this is kind of the shrunken cardigan, or we might want to call it a cropped cardigan, buttoned up as a standalone sweater, you can see. However, you could also unbutton it and layer it over a t-shirt or another, close fitting turtleneck underneath it. So just remember that this is kind of the trend. You'll also notice the gathering on the shoulder line, which is very prevalent. So shoulder detail is excellent for fall and winter. And then, of course, as we said before, the long cardigan sweater is another classic, wonderful strategy, but there are so many out there this year. So I just want you to be aware that the 6 ways that you can really update is by looking in your closet and saying, okay, do I have a sweater vest? And would I wear it? Do I have any sweaters that have collars on them? Get them out. Do I have a sweater tank that I can layer under a jacket or under a cardigan sweater? Do I have any striped sweaters? If I like stripes, this is your year. Do I have some classic turtlenecks that I can get out that work in a color that is beautiful for me, that works with my neck? And the other thing I'll tell you is I have people ask me this all the time. Well, what do I do if I wear a turtleneck? What do I do with jewelry? Because I teach my clients and my students about balance points. And so you're seeing today, I am wearing jewelry over a turtleneck to really create the balance for my particular silhouette. So just know that creating balance on your body is a key strategy for, looking the way you want to look, which is usually, we all want to look a little taller, maybe a little slimmer. Some of my clients want to look a little bigger, but I find the majority really prefer the former. And then, of course, we have the cardigan sweater in lieu of those of us that don't have to wear, coats, but we need a little bit of warmth. That cardigan sweater is going to be a great one. So lots of different ones for you to look at in the catalog. So enjoy going in the catalog, enjoy snooping around, clicking on the pictures. It will take you to different websites, and then you can kind of, research even on that particular website what's going on. So I think that is it. So no matter what kind of sweater you're looking for this season, just pay attention to these 6 that I've talked about today, because these are the things that are going to modernize and update your sweater drawer for 2022. So let me see if I have any questions here. Wendy says, great colors in the sweaters you shared and the variety of styles are interesting. Good. If you're not very tall, can the sweaters be far too long if you don't want to wear heel boots? Yes, they can. So it's all about proportion. And so if you're not going to be wearing boots, you really do have to be careful about how long you get your tops, unless you are a very dramatic style personality and the elegance and the regalness of wearing, a long coat is part of your style personality. So all of these little pieces of the puzzle have to fit together in order to make your choices. And Sylvie, you said, I like the layering so I can keep up with the fluctuating temperatures in the office. Absolutely. That is, whether you have too much heat in the office or whether you have too much air conditioning in the office, layering is a wonderful strategy, always. So I want to just ask a favor of those of you that are here on live and those of you that are going to listen on replay. Don't forget to put the hashtag replay, because I know a lot of you do that. But what I want to ask each of you to do is to think about maybe a friend or 5 that you think would enjoy being a part of this group and would enjoy coming to the Fashion Flair Fridays, or knowing about them, and invite them to join our group, because I'd really like us to increase the reach of this group. And so I'm going to ask for all of you to help me do that by inviting some of your friends who you think would be interested in my messaging. And those of you who have been with me for quite a while, the kind of value and the kind of content I bring you. But I also want you to know that I am always open to new suggestions for topics. I did have somebody contact me this week and say, I would really like you to do something on scarves and scarf tying. So next week, that's what I'm going to do. So if you've got a request, let me know because I want to serve you and be able to deliver to you the kind of information that you would like to know about or hear about or have in your back pocket when you're shopping or when you're putting your outfits together from your closet. Also, another thing I'm going to be doing in December is I'm going to be inviting one of a colleague and someone that I have known for probably 30 years. I think we started in this industry together, but she happens to be a master hairstylist out of Chicago. And you may know, Judy, this is for you. You may notice that I've cut my hair since the last time you saw me. And Judy is the one that helped me really work with my stylist here locally to actually get a new cut based on, the texture of my hair, the length of my hair, the style, personality of my style. And so I've invited Judy. We don't know the date yet, but she is going to come join me sometime in December to talk about hairstyle and hair color. And she is offering virtual services to people now all over the country. So that's kind of a couple of things that we've got on tap. And if you've got more things that you want to hear about, I want you to make sure that you let me know. Wendy, can you share a graphic that's an invitation to ask our friends? All you have to do in this group, is there's an invite button at the top of the page of the group. So the page is the Empowered Style for Successful Women Entrepreneurs at 50 and Better. And all you have to do is click on invite and indicate the name of the person you would like to invite from your list of Facebook friends, and they will get an invitation. So that's how we're going to go ahead and handle it right at the moment. But thank you for asking. And if there are no other questions, ladies, I will sign off for now. And I will see you back here next week with another edition of Fashion Flair Friday, where we're going to be talking about scarves and scarf tying. Okay, take care now. Bye-bye.